Hypersonic glide vehicles. Hypersonic glide vehicles are weapons launched by rockets. The rocket carries them high into the atmosphere. Then the glide vehicle separates and glides toward its target at speeds above Mach 5. That means 5 times the speed of sound. Unlike regular missiles, HGVs don't follow a fixed curved path. They can change direction mid-flight. This makes them very hard to track and intercept. Countries like the US, Russia, and China have developed HGVs. Russia's Avangard and China's DF-ZF are well-known examples. Their speed and maneuverability make them one of the most advanced weapons today. Hypersonic cruise missiles. Hypersonic cruise missiles fly through the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds the entire time. They don't go to space first. Instead, they use an engine called a scramjet to stay fast and low. They fly closer to the ground than glide vehicles. This makes them harder to detect early. HCMs can hit targets with great precision. They are smaller and lighter than ballistic missiles. However, they are harder to build because the scramjet engine must work at extreme speeds. The U.S. Hypersonic Air-Breathing Weapon Concept, or HAWC, is one example of this type of missile. Air-launched hypersonic weapons. Air-launched hypersonic weapons are carried by aircraft and released in mid-air. A plane carries the weapon close to the target zone. Then the weapon is dropped or fired. This gives it a head start in speed and altitude. After release, a rocket boosts it to hypersonic speed. Air launching saves fuel and increases range. It also allows the weapon to be used more flexibly. A plane can take off and reach different areas quickly. Russia's Kinzhal missile is one of the most known air-launched hypersonic weapons. It is carried by MiG-31 fighter jets and two Tu-2M bombers. Scramjet-powered systems. Scramjet-powered systems use a special engine called a supersonic combustion ramjet. This engine has no moving parts. It works by compressing incoming air at hypersonic speeds and mixing it with fuel. The mixture burns and creates thrust. Regular jet engines cannot work at hypersonic speeds. Scramjets can. However, they only work above a certain speed, so a rocket must first accelerate the weapon. Once at the right speed, the scramjet takes over. This technology is very difficult to develop. The engine must handle enormous heat and pressure. Several countries are actively testing scramjet systems for both missiles and aircraft. Fractional orbital bombardment systems. Fractional orbital bombardment systems send a weapon into low Earth orbit before bringing it back down. The weapon travels most of the way around Earth in orbit. It does not complete a full orbit. Instead, it re-enters the atmosphere and strikes from an unexpected direction. Traditional missile defense systems watch for missiles coming over the North Pole. FOBS can approach from the south or another angle entirely. This makes them very hard to detect in time. China tested a FOBS-like system in 2021. The combination of orbital travel and hypersonic glide-on re-entry makes these weapons especially difficult to defend against. Hypersonic anti-ship weapons. Hypersonic anti-ship weapons are designed specifically to destroy naval targets like aircraft carriers and warships. Large ships were once considered safe far from shore. Hypersonic missiles change that. They travel so fast that a ship has very little time to react. Standard naval defense systems are not fast enough to stop them reliably. Russia's Zircon missile is a well-known example. It travels at around Mach 8 and can strike ships hundreds of kilometers away. China is also developing similar systems. These weapons are shifting how navies think about fleet protection and how far from conflict zones ships can safely operate. Future hypersonic interceptors. Future hypersonic interceptors are weapons designed to shoot down other hypersonic missiles. This is one of the hardest problems in modern defense. A hypersonic missile moves so fast that intercepting it requires another extremely fast weapon. Current interceptors are not quick enough. New interceptors must detect, track, and destroy targets moving at Mach 5 or faster. The U.S. Glide Phase Interceptor program is working on this. Directed energy weapons, like high-powered lasers, are also being studied. Space-based sensors are being developed to help track hypersonic threats earlier. Hypersonic interceptors represent the next frontier in both offensive and defensive military technology. Hypersonic drones. Hypersonic drones are unmanned aircraft designed to fly at hypersonic speeds. Unlike missiles, some hypersonic drones are built to return after a mission. They can be used for reconnaissance, surveillance, or strikes. They fly fast enough to avoid enemy defenses while gathering intelligence or delivering weapons. Building a reusable hypersonic vehicle is extremely difficult. The airframe must survive intense heat on every flight. The US R-72, being developed by Lockheed Martin, is one example. It is designed to fly at Mach 6. Hypersonic drones could change both combat and intelligence operations significantly in the coming decades. Nuclear-armed hypersonic missiles. Nuclear-armed hypersonic missiles combine hypersonic speed with nuclear warheads. This pairing creates one of the most dangerous weapons ever conceived. A nuclear warhead delivered at hypersonic speed gives the target almost no warning or reaction time. Traditional nuclear deterrence relied on the ability to detect and respond to incoming missiles. Hypersonic delivery shortens that window dramatically. Russia's Vanguard system is confirmed to carry a nuclear warhead. This changes how nuclear strategy works between major powers. It forces nations to rethink their defense systems. Arms control agreements have not yet caught up with this new technology, making it a serious global concern. Space-based hypersonic weapons. Space-based hypersonic weapons are systems launched from or through outer space. Some concepts involve placing weapons in orbit that can be deorbited and directed at targets on Earth. Because they come from space, they approach from angles that ground-based radars often cannot cover well. Re-entry from orbit also naturally creates hypersonic speeds. This makes them both stealthy and fast. No country has officially deployed space-based weapons yet. However, several nations are researching the concept. International treaties like the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 restrict weapons of mass destruction in orbit. Whether those rules will hold as technology advances remains an open question. Hypersonic torpedoes. Hypersonic torpedoes are underwater weapons designed to travel at extreme speeds beneath the surface. Traditional torpedoes move at around 50 knots. Hypersonic torpedoes aim to reach speeds many times faster by using a technique called supercavitation. This creates a bubble of gas around the torpedo, reducing water resistance dramatically. Russia's Shakval torpedo is an early example of this concept, traveling at around 200 knots. True hypersonic underwater speeds remain a major engineering challenge. Water is far denser than air. However, research continues. If achieved, hypersonic torpedoes would make submarines and surface ships far more vulnerable than they are today. Air-launched hypersonic weapons. Boost, glide weapons combine two phases of flight. First, a rocket boosts the weapon high into the upper atmosphere. This is the boost phase. Then the weapon separates and glides at hypersonic speed toward its target. This is the glide phase. The weapon uses aerodynamic lift to stay in the air and steer itself. Boost glide systems can travel very long distances. They can cover thousands of kilometers. During the glide phase, the weapon can maneuver to avoid defenses. This dual-phase design makes them both fast and hard to stop. HGVs are actually a type of boost glide weapon.